No program in the country has a better winning percentage over the past 2 years than Kansas. The Jayhawks are off to a 6-0 start for the third straight season. But this afternoon starts a brutal week of non-conference competition. The defending Big 12 champs will be put to the test against 13th ranked Kentucky. It's the Jayhawks and Wildcats coming up next on Spectrum Sports. Hello and welcome to Lawrence, Kansas for a top 13 matchup of two volleyball powerhouses. It's the Kansas Jayhawks at 6-0 taking on the Kentucky Wildcats at 5-1. Hello and welcome alongside former KU great Jill Dorsey Hall. I'm Lee Fleizik. Well, this starts just a brutal stretch for Kansas. A tough 6 days. You've got Kentucky. You have Creighton coming up over the weekend. Purdue. Oh, and maybe a eventual conference champion thrown in the mix there too. It's almost like this week needs a theme.
I call it a beast of a week, Leaf. I mean, this is going to be exceptional volleyball. You're talking about a lot of NCAA tournament teams coming in, but look no further. This is a Labor Day special here in Kentucky. All right, the Wildcats are led by a super sophomore in Leah Edmond. What does she bring to the court tonight? Well, she was an All-American as a freshman and even better in her sophomore campaign. The game has just slowed down a little bit, and I am so impressed about her play with the ball control perspective. She's a primary passer. She does so many good things. She's a high riser, though. It's extremely dynamic. She's going to get her kills. She also leads her team in aces. All right, the Jayhawks coming off a win at the Wolverine Invitational in Utah, and Kelsey Payne was a big part of that. No doubt. A first-team All-American performer, the Big 12 preseason player of the year. Oh, she won that award last year. She's so exceptional all the way around, from on the front of the center, behind, on the back row. They're going to utilize her everywhere. The Payne train. This beast of a week starts for Kansas. Kentucky coming off a win over number 18 USC. It ought to be a good one. Coming up next here on Spectrum Sports. Kansas Volleyball is brought to you by Lawrence Memorial Hospital, a proud sponsor of Kansas Women's Athletics, a partner for lifelong health. The Lawrence Memorial Hospital team can help you achieve your life goals. Learn more at lmh.org/partner. All right, the defending Big 12 champions ready to take on Kentucky. Two teams with Final Four aspirations, certainly, and Ray Bichard wanted to up his non-conference schedule, and man, he has done it here. Craig Skinner is the head coach of the Kentucky Wildcats, and what a job he has done there. The program's all-time winningest coach, 12 straight tournament appearances, one of only 9 schools to do that, 3 Sweet 16 appearances. Yeah, they win, and they win a lot in Lexington. A lot of respect between these two coaches. They've known each other for a long time, and what a wonderful job he has done at Kentucky. And you look at the talent amongst their lineup. Madison Lily Hales, actually from nearby. She went to Blue Valley West. She's a true freshman. Keep an eye on her. She runs a 5-1 system. Cass Brown, exceptional in the middle blocker for Kentucky. The Kansas Jayhawks led by Ray Bichard, the Big 12 Coach of the Year again in his 20th season. He has his Jayhawks playing well at 6-0 off to another fast start. And they just seem to keep getting better and better every year. He might as well just stay here for another 20 years. And wonderful job he's done with the program, and this is a big one here in Lawrence.
All right, settle in. This ought to be a good one. Kansas and Kentucky. The Wildcats in their black trimmed in blue, and the Wildcats will open with the first point of the match.
And no doubt the most physical team that Kansas has faced all season long. You look at the front row, it's not uncommon to see 6'5", 6'5", 6'2" on the front row for the Wildcats.
And an ace served up by Kentucky. The Wildcats off to a quick 2-0 start. They certainly passed the bus test. As you watch the warm-ups, there's a lot of signs there, and as you mentioned, a lot of physicality.
And what they can do is just a prime example of that. They want to get you out of system because then it's really clear on where you're going to set the ball. That last serve was an ace, and now here, look, they knew exactly where Kelsey Payne was going.
Rigdon with a nice save. Diving save there by Gabby Curry. Payne is there for Kansas. Really back to Rigdon, that's on the line. Kansas is on the board.
And I asked Coach Broussard, I said, who has been that player for you? He goes, Madison Rigdon. She's gotten some slow starts, man. She just does everything for us when we need it. That was a back row tag and perfectly placed in that deep corner.
Tori Miller in now to serve for the Jayhawks. Nice save there for Miller. Rigdon with a nice shot. Dug out of there by Edmond. Edmond now with a swing. Point goes to Kentucky.
Yeah, back row attack. So Anise was trying to bring it on the other side of the plane of the net. It was a good call by the up official. Leah Edmond had room, and she had the room to go. That was across the plane of the net. So I like that call. Point goes over to Kentucky.
Emily Franklin now, the senior for the Wildcats, serves it up 3-1. Really outside to Rigdon. Point to Kansas.
And that was a beautiful pass, and what it allowed is that timing, right? So Anise pushes the ball out so far. Cass Brown just a little bit late to close because she had to stay true in the middle. She had to watch out for Kelsey Payne behind her. They had all three hitting options open, so that pass really set up that play.
Allie Nelson puts it in the net, so it'll go back to Kentucky.
You talk about Ellie Nelson coming in for the Big 12 Libero of the Year, we lost due to graduation, right? And Cassie Waite. She's done a wonderful job thus far, but missed serve on her first serving attempt.
Leader Rigdon. Nelson was there. Point to Kentucky.
Just a ball handling error, but broken pass right off the first contact. So Kansas hasn't been in system all that one play early going in this first set.
Really has to run for this one. Rigdon with a nice shot right on the line again.
So it's been Rigdon bailing him out in 2 plays. I mean, this play, she's off on the 10-foot line, and she just utilizes all areas of the floor. Deep corner, you're going to have success. Nobody's there on that defensive side. So wonderful job by Rigdon.
You just see Rigdon start and then stop and then gather herself. But boy, there's no stopping Leah Edmond. She is so strong.
She can hit over the top of anybody. I mean, it doesn't matter who you're going to put out there. She's just that dynamic. And watch how high up she gets here. And the tempo of that ball just allows for that pace to get out there and then her to hit over the top of the block.
Now Edmond will serve it up. Rigdon pounds away. Off the antenna, point to Kansas.
Well, Madison Rigdon, she hit with a little bit more oomph on this ball. Look at that. I mean, coming down the line. Wonderful shot. Oh, yeah, and she's one of the 3 All-Americans that Kansas has on their squad. So I know that Anise Havili gets a lot of praise, Kelsey Payne, but, man, Madison Rigdon just does every aspect of the game.
Rigdon with a nice serve gives Kansas an opportunity. Havili up to Cheadle. Dug out by Skinner. Too strong from Leah Edmond.
And much like they utilized Kelsey Payne on the back row for the Jayhawks, that's Leah Edmond coming from that right back position. An area and an aspect of the game that she's shown a lot of improvement and growth from that freshman year to the sophomore season.
Gabby Curry for the Wildcats. Too far for Havili. Able to save it. Cheadle got a hand on that one. Rigdon from the back row. angle there from Avery Skinner.
And Skinner, one of those true freshmen, a wonderful recruiting class for the Wildcats, and she just brings so much power. Look at that cross body, very sharp cross for attack. Too much to handle.
Overpass. Favili with a nice save. Rigdon swings from the back row. Allie Nelson got a hand on him. Like Jada Burse. Cheadle has it blocked off the antenna, point to Kansas.
The first long rally and the first success goes over to Kansas, so they grind at this point out a little bit. A lot of positive touches at the plane of the net, and then finally it's Cheadle off 1 foot behind the setter. I love how Anise was really just working the Kentucky block side and really antenna to antenna.
Skinner pounds away.
And Skinner had a big smile off that one. She just went up there and hit that one as hard as she could, trying to tool the block, and she had success, exactly what she was wanting to do.
An impressive freshman. And another one here, Madison Lilly. We saw her in her high school career over in Kansas City at Blue Valley West. Outstanding player.
Overzealous there, ready to keep this match going. I mean, it's such an early start for Kentucky. They really have not had one area of their game broken down thus far, doing everything they want to on their side of the floor.
The freshman setter will serve it up again. Lilly sends it long. So now it'll be Havili for Kansas. Down 3 in this opening set. Long. Point to Kansas.
And you got to think, Jada Burse touches so high that you almost think, just hit it high enough and you're going to get one of those hands. But it's just that much too high to go sailing out of bounds, but just narrowly missed Jada Burse.
Really with a nice save. Curry there for the Wildcats. Oh, bang, bang play. I think that ended up off Brooke Morgan.
It went off her hand. Watch this ball ricochet off the block, right off her left arm. She tried to say, no, that was out. not enough poker face there from Morgan. But, wow, that was so fast. Great job from the line official and the up official to keep an eye on that one.
Brooke Morgan this time has no doubt about it.
And Kentucky's, both of their middles are so good off 1 foot on the slide attack, and it's a quick ball out there. Zoe Hill unable to close that block, and she goes attacks that angle.
Jada Burse has it sent back on her side. Well, Kentucky is physical with the net, aren't they?
Yeah, this is a wall. And just ready, up and ready, and they close the block. No seam to work with for Jada Burse. The set was inside just a hair. You want to see that out, pulled out just a bit.
Really has to track that one down. Payne with a big swing. Play by Hill. Hill mishit it. Play continues. And it'll work. Kansas gets the point.
Well, your first contact can be a little unconventional at sorts, but this ball clearly doesn't come out cleanly. But play goes on, and point to Kansas is that they were grinding through that point. And Zoe actually earlier in that play had a wonderful coverage for her teammates, so give her some credit to have that play continue early on.
Corey Miller with a nice serve, but it's Emily Franklin, the senior, who puts it away. Kentucky maintains its lead at 12-9. And Sales just long. Kansas within 2. high for Lily. Kansas takes advantage of the overpass.
Wonderful response from Allie Nelson. The first time she had service, she had a service error, and it was in the middle of the net. So much better job from the sophomore, who I think has done such a good job in that libero position.
Big shoes to fill.
Yeah, no doubt.
Edmond with a big hit. Too strong for Allie Nelson this time.
Yeah, you got to keep that ball in front of your hip. I mean, if you let that go at all, I mean, Leah Edmond just has so much power. And you're showing it here. So it just passes that left hip of Allie Nelson. Ball travels out.
Payne. Point goes to Kansas.
And now finally a couple errors on the Wildcat side. We've had 2 net violations, a couple service errors. So
wow. Big hit that time from Kaz Brown. Allie Nelson stood tall there, but Kaz Brown just bringing it.
How about it? She was there, just couldn't hold on to it enough, but the ball sails out of bounds. There's so much power, and there's so much pop on the ball from so many high-level attackers in this match.
This hit there from Leah Edmond. Point to Kansas. The Jayhawks down just 1 now.
She does lead her team in from the service ace, so it's a high risk, much like we see from Madison Rigdon, where she can just serve in bunches. So we're going to see now Kansas' best server from the service line in Madison Rigdon. Led the Big 12 in service aces last season ago. So back-to-back, but both head coaches know that. I mean, it's a high risk, high reward.
All right, at the break, Kentucky leads at 15-13 in the opening set here from Lawrence between the Wildcats and the Jayhawks on Spectrum Sports. The Kansas Jayhawks trailing Kentucky 15-13. It's been Madison Rigdon for the Kansas Jayhawks.
Yeah, and she's gotten him out of trouble a couple times off of the behind the 10-foot line, back row attack, you name it. She has been successful. 5 kills, no errors on 9 attempts, hitting .556. That's incredible. And then here a little push over the net. Everything the Jayhawks needed, she is doing. They just are a little bit slow going early on in this first set, but it has been Madison Rigdon, that 6th rotation player who's been steady Eddie.
All right, it's Gabby Curry to serve for Kentucky now, leading 15-13 here in the opening set. Really sends it back to Cheadle. Kayla Cheadle is off to a good start.
And that pass could not be placed any better for Anissa Havili. That was up on a platter for her to have either option. She's live here as a setter, but she could set behind or out to the outside. And that was Cheadle. I mean, that was the most fluid play we've seen from a middle hitter thus far for the Jayhawks.
Off of Kansas and no. Wide from Emily Franklin, so Kansas has drawn it even to 15.
And here we go, and the crowd is just getting a little bit louder now. I mean, this has just been back and forth, and now Kansas is really kind of having a surgence right now midway through this first set.
Kansas now with the lead, 16-15.
And this is interesting. They have a true freshman in Skinner on the outside. They're the freshman setter, and then they have the Emily Franklin, the senior middle blocker. But this is an interesting 3 rows right now for the Wildcats. You might see them try to back row attack to Leah Edmond and see where they're going to go. But if they're insistent, Madison Lily might try to bail them out as well.
We talked about this beast of a week for the Kansas Jayhawks, and certainly this is a headline in anybody's schedule when you take on Kentucky. But boy, next weekend is going to really be tough when Belmont, as you mentioned,
they go to the tournament often.
Possible conference champion there. Purdue, always strong in the Big Ten in the top 25, and Creighton, who knocked off this Kentucky team in straight sets.
And they're ranked 7th in the country. I think they could even rise and maybe go to 6th this week in the polls, in the upcoming polls. So actually, I think they were just released. So they're in a top 10 team, right? Purdue is a top 25 team, no doubt. Belmont is one of those teams, those mid-major teams that just always play so fierce and tenacious, especially on the defensive end. They have some local girls coming back to the Kansas City area, so that'll be a fun one. So, wow, what a week ahead. But this is, look no further than this match. When I talked to Coach B earlier today, he's like, well, we're going to know where we're at, right? And he goes, either way, this week is going to, say a lot. Before we go into conference play, I mean, this is the week that we looked at before the season started that said, hey, these are some top teams. All of these teams could be in the NCAA tournament later this season.
And he really wanted to up his non-conference schedule to really test his team, and they'll certainly be put to the test here over the next 6 days. Addie Berry serves it up. Lily goes outside, and that's Avery Skinner.
And Skinner had a little bit more time to work with on that play, and I love the push out and then also the placement for her in that deep portion of the floor.
Lily to serve.
A pair of service errors for Madison Lily. The first time she was on the service line, it was sailed out of bounds, and then this time clips the top of the net. But she is one of those servers that can provide a lot of problems for opponents. Now both setters.
Kansas will return the favor. Maybe just a little bit of coming back home nerves for Lily.
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I think she's such a competitor. I think she's up to the challenge. She's played at such high-level volleyball. I mean, she's in the USA programs and a lot of international experience. But yeah, you're pretty close to where home is, and probably has to be fun for her.
Kelsey Payne puts it away for Kansas, and now Kansas trying to get their All-American on board.
Yeah, get her going. She said, hey, nice pass, nice set, that constant communication from that senior. And look at how high that is, that touch point up above everyone else. Just goes to show you the level at which Kelsey Payne can rise.
Back to Tori Miller to serve. Kansas will get an opportunity here. Wheelie sets it for Payne, and that's good.
And that maybe looked like a free ball, but that was a difficult ball for Allie Nelson to pick up. So give her some credit. I mean, that ball really dropped. And even said credit too to Havili to bring that ball back up high enough, and then where Kelsey Payne can just go up and just put that right in that corner. Another good
nice
ball.
Deep serve.
Yep.
Edmond, did it touch a hand?
Yeah,
no.
We might have
KU.
No, we're going to have a timeout, Coach Skinner. She went after it, barely missed. Look how high Zoe Hill was flying up there. Just barely missed that hand.
Right next to Payne. That's saying something when you can reach that height, huh?
It is, and I love that aggressiveness, man. Leah Edmond was going after it, but man, Kansas has really just settled into this first set. Little shaky early going, but look, another great look at this. Can't get a better look than that, and I don't see a touch on that. I mean, it would have to be a fingernail, but definitely not clear and convincing evidence to challenge that or overturn that.
What has Kansas done now to flip the tide, if you will, and take the lead here in this first set?
Yeah, it's ball control, right? I mean, they have been a much better job of that first contact. And then also just they're forcing some errors on the Kentucky side, where Kentucky was playing very clean volleyball early going. They've had a couple service errors, they had a couple attacking errors, and then Kansas has just really weathered the storm and gotten to a good rhythm. And I love that play where they had Cheadle on the slide. I think that was on point. Really, truly a very fluid play for them. So we'll see if they can coach. This point I think is really important, though. I know Kansas has now a 3-point lead, their biggest lead in this set. I think this is really big. And Coach Broussard said their first weekend out, they had a wonderful time with this rotation with Tori Miller serving. This last weekend, not as successful, but this has been a very good rotation for Kansas in the early going.
Tori Miller has served well. dig there. And a great effort from Havili to go into the Kansas bench, but it'll be points to Kentucky.
I think Allie Nelson maybe fell down in that play, and man, that was asking a lot for Anissa Havili to travel that far on the play. Good, positive touch from Tori Miller, just couldn't control it enough.
Now Kentucky down 2. Really up high.
And the ball control, I mean, that play from Allie Nelson, it all started with that sophomore libero. I mean, up high for Zoe Hill. And we talk about her, it looks like she is on a trampoline when she jumps. I'm not even joking. It looks like there's a springboard underneath Zoe Hill's feet, and she just flies up into the air. She's such a fun athletic player to watch.
Allie Nelson puts it in play. Off Rigdon, nice effort there from Allie Nelson, but it'll be point to Kentucky. Payne. Start to see the rhythm now coming to the Kansas offense.
And I love watching Payne because whenever it seems like every single match when it gets late into a set, she just jumps a little bit higher and she gets a little bit harder. And that's at another level than what other players can play at. I mean, she has that sheer athleticism.
Allie Nelson with a nice dig. Rigdon off the hands, point to Kansas. The Jayhawks 2 points away from this opening set.
Well, she remains airless, and Madison Rigdon. How about this pickup from Allie Nelson? Quick out to Madison Rigdon, and she saw just enough angle, high hands, 6 kills, no errors.
Payne puts it in the net. Kentucky down 23-20. And Leah Edmond will serve.
And Leah Edmond is traditionally a jump server with a top spin. If she goes with a jump float, she can go back and forth, right? That time she chose to go with a jump float, but in the net. So that has been a problem for Kentucky in this set, or the service line, are those service errors. They have 5 of them to 1 service ace.
Set points now for Kansas. Rigdon serves. Sock to Avery Skinner, who saves one of those set points.
Woo! That was freshman to freshman, Wildcat fans. I mean, that was just bouncing a ball. Sharp, cross court.
Really has to play it over the right hand. Skinner now. Really back over to Burse. Wildcats able to save it. Chance for Kansas. Havili wants Burse again. Lilly sends it out to Skinner. And the freshman connection works again for Kentucky, the second set point save.
Well, she had success on that, but how about the defensive prowess from the Wildcats on that play? I mean, there was a couple hard hits that they controlled. And that cross court, very sharp angle, has been successful. Now we're going to see Kelsey Payne go out, the crowd on their feet, as they've seen Kentucky just fight. They don't want to let this first set go. The primary passing right now for Kansas, they need to be in system. They have 2 hitters live right now.
Jada Burse sees it come back right at her, and Kentucky has saved 3 set points now, and Ray Bouchard wants a timeout. Kentucky has stood up to the challenge.
Well, this is what you're going to get. I mean, you have a very physical team, and now you think, do we move some players around? Do we just give Jada a higher ball to work with on the outside pin? You also have Cheadle available. Anissa Havili is a live setter right now on the front row, so 2 live attackers. They just subbed Kelsey Payne out of the game, so now we talk about options and play, but first things first, you need to be in system and have an in-system pass.
And that's really what brought Kansas into this opening set, wasn't it?
Yeah, and one of the points that Kentucky was able to save, that the pass was too tight to the net, so Anise had to just dump it softly over with not a lot of authority. So that first contact is crucial, no doubt. And right now you're looking, I mean, this is such a big point right now for Kansas to gain this one and just close this first set. You got to think, though, I mean, you have a 3-point lead. That doesn't mean much when you're playing a top 13, you know, in the top 25, a powerhouse in Kentucky. A team that is going to fight to try to win the SEC. They were second in those rankings last season, and Kansas, the defending Big 12 champion.
You talked about maybe fatigue setting in for both of these teams. Kentucky coming off a big weekend up in Nebraska, the Kansas Jayhawks at the Wolverine Invitational. So both teams have played a lot of volleyball here in the last 4 days. But I got to think the adrenaline's flowing when you see one or the other on the other side of the net. All right, Gabby Curry serves it up. Still down one. Their fourth set point to face. Havili with a nice joust. And it's opening set to Kansas. Anise Havili powers her way across the net. And the Jayhawks take it 25-23.
How about this from your All-American? You go up and you go up so strong. Leads your team to a big first set victory.
Kansas leads 1-0. Welcome back to Lawrence, where the Kansas Jayhawks have taken the opening set over the Kentucky Wildcats, 25-23. Lee Fleisig, Jill Dorsey Hall with you, and leave it to an All-American to put the wraps on that opening set, because Kentucky had fought off 3 straight set points, and before Kansas was finally able to close it out, Anise Havili really doing a difficult job at the net.
And Coach Green said, you know, she just makes plays when we need it. She has that good sense. And this one, there's another play that really needed to be made. I mean, this is exactly it. And so we go here. Allie Nelson has his first contact, tries to hold on to it, just doesn't hold on to it enough. And this play, you got to think Anise Havili is facing the other way. She has to jump and then go, not get in the net, control her body, and then press with enough power to go up against a 6'5" middle blocker on the other side. I just love, she's such a fierce competitor, and Anise Havili, and what a big time play from your senior.
So Kansas strikes first. Well, you talked about Kentucky and the fight that the Wildcats would have, but Kansas certainly did not want to let that first set slip away after 3 set points.
And they went down to as many as 4 points in that early going, and they just really settled into it, forced a little bit more errors. Kentucky had 5 service errors to 1 ace. I love the hitting percentage. That was one of the key aspects that Coach Richard said, you know, I'm really pleased. I think we're hitting in a very efficient clip. That's extremely efficient, 353 as a team, spearheaded by Madison Rigdon, 6 kills, no errors on 10 attempts. So they haven't had an answer for Rigdon. But, you know, the blocking really hasn't been a part of it. There's been teams, both teams have covered their hitters really well. Kansas has yet to notch a service ace, but what you're going to get on a highly contested match like that, 25-23, fairly close in those statistical categories.
We thought this would be a good one.
Yeah.
That opening set is an indication it's going to live up to the billing. A lot of fun to watch as Taylor Alexander checks into the Kansas lineup.
So we saw Cheadle in that first set. In this set, we're going to see Taylor Alexander. So last year we lost Taylor Susi, a 4-year player as a middle hitter for Kansas. And then now we're seeing Taylor Alexander, who's going to come out because Allie Nelson's going to have that libero position for the Jayhawks. But you're going to see her coming in when she comes to the front 3 rows.
All right, Kansas taking the opening set. Tori Miller will serve it up to start set number 2. Lily sets it back to Brooke Morgan. And the senior powers it away.
And all 3 options. It's a hard rotation to defend against Kentucky when they have those 3 live attackers. And then Morgan on the outside of a beautiful tempo ball from Madison Lilly, the setter.
Morgan 6'5". Avili sets it for Payne. Nice dig there from Meredith Jewell. Payne is there to stop it.
And they're going to get Zoe Hill in the net, I believe. And I think they're going to challenge this. Yeah, good challenge by Coach Burchard as they're going to take a look at this early on. I mean, I think Leah Edmond, I believe, with her swings, really swung through this ball and hit the net. They're saying it was Kansas, and a big smile from Leah Edmond from Kentucky. So look at her follow through on this attack, and she's going to be in the net. And they called Kansas Zoe Hill in the net. So I think there's enough clear and convincing evidence that this is going to be overturned and points going to be to Kansas.
Well, I think you can even see Aaliyah Edmond grab her hand after she hits that net. I think she's still working on those fingers.
The ball's set out to the outside. Watch her follow through right there.
Absolutely.
This is going to be a block right back down.
Yeah, she caught her finger in the net.
Yeah, and it was a clear net violation. They called it on Kansas, see if there's enough evidence there to overturn and go against Kentucky. But Coach Burchard calls that challenge. Again, you have 3 challenges calls. Challenges able to use for both head coaches. You use them and lose them. And take a look from this side. You can just see what her follow through. Zoe clearly doesn't think it's her.
Yeah.
She was pretty excited about that play.
Well, live, it certainly looked like Zoe Hill had plenty of room between herself and the net.
Taking a long look at this play. And you think, wow, gosh, this is early in that second set, but every point matters.
Absolutely.
It truly does. And they don't overturn this. Kentucky's up to a 2-0 lead. Some of these little plays can build momentum for your side, which leads to 2-3 points. And between 2 high caliber teams, that could be all the difference. Take a look at that right arm, and she grabs kind of her hand after she follows through.
She got her finger caught in the net pretty clearly, and she was still even now is still kind of working her hand. Well, it's not going to go Kansas's way. You can tell by the reaction from Ray Bouchard. Call stands. We'll have to get an explanation on that.
Well, I can understand why he pulled a challenge, no doubt. I mean, I saw it the other way, but here now Kansas has a little bit of adversity. Early going.
Kentucky in black serves it up. Avili outside to Rigdon. Off the hands and out of play. Kansas on the board here in the second set.
A steady Madison Rigdon coming out here, tooling the block, knowing that it's not set, tagging that right hand. 7 kills, no errors on 11 attempts. That's 636 from your outside hitter.
Nice serve there from Allie Nelson. But a big hit. The Wildcats, it was like 2 heavyweights going at it. This is not a counter-punching fight, is it?
Yeah, and look at this. I mean, it's just quick, and the block isn't moved out far enough to get a hand on that.
The ball is thumping off the court right now. Avili outside to Rigdon. set that time to Taylor Alexander. Really tries Payne this time. Off Gabby Curry, a point to Kansas.
And Curry upset with herself. She's done a wonderful job in that libero position as a true freshman for Kentucky. Gets a hand on that, but just can't control it. And Kelsey Payne, it was the tempo of that play up above with some firepower. Cleaning off the floors. It's lively in here.
It's warm too.
Both these teams know that this would be a huge win to their resume.
How about Taylor Alexander going up strong? A little tight to the net for Madison Lilly.
She said, I'm not going to let a setter win this battle, not this joust battle. And what's so hard to understand too, it's who presses last. Low and last oftentimes wins that joust. Not always, right? Timing is a big part of that, and you're the last one, and she was definitely the last one to press.
Alexander got a hand on that one with Avili. Alexander again. This time Kentucky able to put it away.
Questioning if there was an antenna, if it hit the antenna on that. Coach B asking his teammates, saying, did that hit the antenna? So both teams a little bit unsure of what really. So let's take a good look at this. See if the ball hits on the attack, hits the, or outside of the antenna. I don't think it was. It just.
Kelsey Payne was calling it immediately. She had probably the best look of it. Really sets it for Alexander. That just wide. This one looked close too.
Ooh. Yeah, that was close. That could have, I don't know, your coach Richard, though, you've already used one challenge.
The overpass, and Kaz Brown makes the Jayhawks pay.
And a quick 3-point lead here for Kentucky. Just couldn't hold on to this and try to get it perfect up to your setter, but an overpass is almost as a free gift to Kaz Brown.
Off the tape and an ace. Kentucky rolling along right now, 7-3.
And this goes back to the serve pass element. This is a seam ball. It's right in between Tori Miller and Allie Nelson.
Just caught the tape. That one's wide.
Well, it was Leah Edmond, and she struggled from the service line in that first set, but a good response from your sophomore. Although she follows that up with an air. You'll take that ratio in that second set, ace to air. Now Kansas, Madison Rigdon already has 9 aces on the season to lead the Jayhawks. It's what about a bit of a hybrid serve, a jump float, but also has some side rotation.
Serves up an ace, make it 10. That was nasty.
And not a lot of players can play that one up. I mean, that was just dropping a dime right on the line. No question, and with some pace. The trajectory of the serve is so low to the net, too, that makes it difficult. And then it either cuts away from you, either way.
Curry handles that one.
Wonderful job.
Kansas outside for Brown.
From Curry on that response on that pass. I mean, this is good response. And Kaz Brown, the senior middle blocker, just mishits that one off one foot.
Another big serve from Rigdon. Now Kansas with a chance. Alexander with a quick ball. Alexander showing some athleticism.
And showing why she had 100+ blocks last season at Ole Miss. I mean, she's coming in here and showing that, hey, I play at this level. I play up here with everyone else, and just snapping it back down. I love this senior. I mean, I enjoyed my talks with her early going, and just her journey with the sport of volleyball and coming here. And she wanted to join a top program, transferring in from Ole Miss.
Rigdon with another nice serve. Chance for Kansas. Alexander. And Taylor Alexander provided a nice spark here in the second set.
And And it's a senior sense about her, too. I mean, she is not a youthful player in her volleyball career. I mean, this is it. This is her last hurrah. She is focused. She is a big-time presence on the net, and she's really fit nicely into this team.
Really outside the burst.
Jada Burst, welcome to the party. Talking about a player that can touch high and above 10 foot. I mean, she's one of them.
And Kentucky needs a timeout as Kansas has run out to a 9-7 lead here in the second set. The Jayhawks took the opening set and now lead in the second here on Spectrum Sports. Welcome back to Lawrence, where the Kansas Jayhawks have stormed back here in this second set to lead 9-7. Lee Fleisig, Jill Dorsey-Hall with you, and boy, Taylor Alexander, welcome to the squad. She has been a nice addition, as you mentioned it, but especially big here in this second set.
Yeah, early, big-time spark from the senior coming in and just being a force at the net, offensively and defensively.
Outside Skinner, Avery Skinner, the freshman, takes the set from Madison Lilly and just pounds away.
If Avery Skinner has any kind of seam, she's going to get there, and she's going to get there quick. I mean, the firepower and the just heavy arm swing from the freshman.
Lilly chases it down. Burst swings away. Nice angle. Dug out by Skinner. Really wants Burst again. Finds a nice angle and puts it past the diving Gabby Curry.
That was what you like to see there is the adjustment just from Jada Burst on this play. I mean, she was off of the net, and she made a smart play deep in the floor. I mean, you talk about the rise and just the improvement from your freshman. I think that jump has been very significant from Jada Burst, and you're going to continue to see that. Just the smart plays that she's going to make. And man, I think big things ahead from her. I know we haven't talked about her a lot in this match, but she's provided some great plays for the Jayhawks.
Skinner with a big hit again. Off the Kansas block and point to Kentucky. Boy, how do you think they feel in the SEC knowing that Avery Skinner and Lee Edmond are there for the next 2 years after this one?
Right. And
Madison Lilly setting for him.
We talk about the freshman class that Kentucky had. I mean, a very highly touted.
Kansas able to answer with a dump there. 11-9 KU now.
Coach Bouchard said, you know, she just has a sense of when their team needs it. And how about that timing right there? I mean, everybody was on their heels, not expecting that setter dump at all.
Lilly tracks it down. Hill got a hand on it. Into the net. Kansas able to survive a tough point there.
And Zoe Hill has made some athletic plays. I mean, that's your middle blocker setting up your outside hitter. Jada Burst, smart play there. Continue on, not try to do too much with the ball. You'll take the attacking error for the Jayhawks.
Lily's done a nice job and sets it nicely there for Emily Franklin.
She has, man. She is a true freshman for Kentucky. And Coach Skinner said, you know, she's been coming to camp since she was in 7th grade. And we just kind of had our eyes on her.
Not your typical freshman.
Early on. And Man, she's one of the best setters coming out of the country last year from high school, and showing why she's able to step in right away and run a 5-1 system.
This time it's Jada Burst for the Jayhawks. Kansas answering Kentucky swing for swing.
Very workmanlike from Jada Burst. That whole, very mature. I felt like those 3 rows from her and just being steady, extremely dynamic and athletic. And Jada Burst now has only 3 kills, but I think she's playing very well.
Tough ball to handle. And Kansas has really done a pretty good job serving today. Tori Miller with that one.
And this is that rotation where they've had some positive movement in this category on scoring, some point scoring from these 3 rows.
Lily sets it back this time for Brooke Morgan, who goes deep and scores it for the Wildcats.
Well, from an efficiency standpoint, it has been Brooke Morgan that has led the and in the kill category. 7 kills, 1 error on 9 attempts. So hitting .667 is your senior right side.
Really wants Rigdon. Nice angle from Madison Rigdon. See her snap that one cross court?
Yeah, that was it. That's what we call thumb down in a hurry right there. I mean, she goes up and says, here you go, Leah. Here you go. It is impressive right now what Madison Rigdon is doing on every aspect of the game. But look no further, 8 kills, no errors on 13 attempts.
Rigdon with a nice block.
And a block.
Wow.
Keep an eye on her left hand, okay? Watch it. She gets all of this with her left hand, and she keeps it high, and she presses it in just enough, because if her hand was angled just straight on, it would have ricocheted and went out of bounds, but she curved it in at the last second to push it back into the floor. Well done from their senior.
What kind of strength does that take for your offhand to be able to take that shot and turn it back?
Well, when you have a good block and you feel a block and your whole body is just almost like as strong as possible. I mean, you go up there and your entire body is just pressed over and really just flexing over, and your hands, your fingers are strong, your shoulders are strong. And impressive move from a senior. Just a little quick step out, gather coil, press over the net. That was a big time solo block.
All right, Kentucky called timeout. Let's take a look at Leah Edmond here. Left side as Edmond goes after that ball. Oh, it gets maybe stepped on there a little bit.
I hope she's okay.
She may have been stepped on that right arm.
I think she's out there, but yeah, keep an eye on Leah Edmond. As
she's already got a finger on that right hand that got caught into the net earlier in this set. So we'll watch Leah Edmond, the sensational sophomore for Kentucky.
One of the top 12 players in the country to keep an eye on. Leah Edmond, Kelsey Payne, they're both in this match, going head to head. It's been a battle.
Allie Nelson for Kansas, up 16-11. Really had a tough ball to set there. Alexander and Rigdon. Didn't seem to affect her there.
No, not at all. And you had Kelsey Payne looking by, and she's just like shrugging her shoulders. I mean, not much you can do on that. She just hitting over the top of the block and showing why she's one of the premier attackers in the country.
Mackenzie Watson now for Kentucky. Rigdon to Taylor on a quick ball. Taylor Alexander has been very, very good.
And once again, in system. I mean, this pass was perfect for the Jayhawks to run their offense. I mean, Anissa really didn't have to move. That's a one-on-one attacking option there. And Alexander wins that battle. She has definitely been a spark. Didn't see her in that first set, but you're seeing her in the second set. 4 kills, only 1 error, hitting .429 for the Jayhawks.
Outside to Rigdon, tough ball to handle. Payne able to handle it. Now Rigdon swings. Dumped over by Lily. She's a heady player as well.
She's so poised. I mean, she's played at such high-level volleyball already. Coming here and sensing no one's jumping with me. I have this area of the floor wide open. Rally has gone on.
Back to Rigdon. Wow. Did you see her shoot between that block?
Well, the thing is that you think, wow, there's nowhere she's going to be able to go in this play. I mean, this sets in a little bit inside. She doesn't have her feet quite to the ball, but she just works with anything. I mean, any sliver, Madison Rigdon gets it through, and it makes it so difficult for the opponent to defend.
I'm telling you, she made that adjustment in mid-flight and took it right between the block. Rigdon with a nice dig there. Well, he sends it outside to Skinner. Allie Nelson was there. Jada Burse. Blocked by Kaz Brown. Somebody was in the net there. Point to Kentucky.
Allie Nelson with a dig. Skinner has been to that sharp corner time and time. That just feels good as a libero. I mean, you're like, okay, I seen where you go. Bring the power. I'm just going to put it up there perfectly for my setter. Well done, Allie Nelson.
Jayhawks still leading by 4 here in this second set after taking the opening set, 25-23. Outside to Jada Burse. Nice dig from Mackenzie Watson. Rare mistake from Avery Skinner.
Finally showing maybe she's a freshman. I mean, it seems like she has been air-free.
She doesn't hit like it, does she?
No, I mean, so much power, but Kansas will take that. Really, in this second set, I mean, I know Kentucky jumped up to that early 2-0 lead, but since then, Kansas has just continued to put a little bit more onto that pedal and just a little bit more firepower and have been consistent with serve and pass.
Better keep your foot on the accelerator against Kentucky. First with a nice block. Skinner. Addie Berry there with a save. First plays it over.
Yeah, smart play by Jada.
Skinner. The ball hit the floor. It looked like Payne would have just maybe touched the floor as Payne made a nice diving attempt.
Well, Addie Berry making a play. Diving into that seam. Play goes on, and then a smart adjustment from Skinner. We had that attacking air, and then she said, you know, I haven't shown a little tip right over the block. Finesse.
First swings wide.
One of the first ball handling errors we've seen in this second set for the Jayhawks. And now we're going to see them specialize here for Kelsey Payne.
Burse plays it. Mavili back to Burse. And talk about the growth of Jada Burse in her sophomore year, and you can really see it, can't you?
Yeah, and she didn't try to do too much. A little give and go here as she has to pass that first contact. And again, it's just deep in the floor. I mean, we know Jada Burse, can hit so hard, right? But I love just the adjustment that she did with her racket hand and her connection there with the ball.
Kansas the first to 20 now at 2016, and you can see the perspiration on the court. It is warm here inside Horish.
I was giving a little women's basketball love there to Jada Brown. I mean, I was going back to my...
You're going into basketball mode already.
It was. I feel like Kansas, Kentucky has that like basketball feel a little bit. What a play from Madison Lilley.
I was just going to say, Madison Lilley just saved that one, didn't she?
She saved the point, no doubt. I mean, she went over and set this, and Coach Richard is going to argue that she was on the other side, but there was nobody there.
Kansas still by 3. Really wants Zoe Hill.
Well, Zoe Hill can produce a highlight reel, no doubt. But the pass here was on point, and then Zoe Hill can just get you at you in a hurry.
You were in basketball mode. That's like a tomahawk slam.
Yeah, that was no question. That one just probably felt good. And she's a sophomore, so she's so fun to watch, though. I mean, traditionally, you would say maybe undersized in height-wise, but she makes up for it in leaping ability.
She's right up there with Kelsey Payne, right?
Yeah, jumping, no doubt.
Healy plays that one. Allie Nelson over to Payne. Strength will save you a lot of time.
Well, you know, that's a hard ball. Everyone in the gym knows where this ball is going. And Anise took the first ball, secondary set from Allie Nelson, and then you just throw it up there to Kelsey Payne.
And Avili with a nice pat on the back to Allie Nelson.
I know we talked about Rigdon, but Kelsey Payne is also airless. She has 7 kills, no errors, hitting .538.
Hill and Payne were there. Avili plays it. Nelson to Rigdon. Darian Mack. Looked like the last one to get it for Kentucky.
And Zoe gets to that ball late, but gets a positive hand on it. And then Madison Rigdon just trying to cut it back line. And Mack just staying disciplined there on that right side. First time we're seeing her in the ball game.
Harper Hempel, the senior, in to serve. Really sets it high for Payne. Allie Nelson with a nice attempt at a dig, but can't redirect it in the court.
And this was just too much from Leah Edmond. Allie had a positive read on the play, so she's there, she's seeing it.
Court maintenance there.
See if Kansas runs a double quick in the middle to Zoe Hill and Kelsey Payne on this play. They've had some success with a double quick. Don't have to. Service error.
Good call there from Tori Miller to let it sail long.
Yeah.
Kansas 2 points away from the second set.
The Jayhawk Littles, as they call them. So the defensive specialists, back row players, do a lot of the little things like an offensive line would do in football. You know, a lot of the little things that maybe go, not unnoticed, I wouldn't say unrecognized, but just some of the small communication things that prove to be so big.
Wow. Leah Edmond just brought it.
Yeah, that was a rocket. I mean, the pop, you can hear it when she hits the ball so fast. That's almost just like, you know what? Kudos to you, Leah Edmond.
I didn't study kinesiology, but there is a chain reaction there that ends with a giant thump. Now Madison Rigdon. Kaz Brown got a hand on that one. Edmond this time is blocked.
Well, as fast as it can go, that's as quick as it can come back over. I mean, that's just, and I was looking forward to this matchup. You know, it's Leah Edmond, it's Kelsey Payne, it's 2 All-Americans, heavyweights. And you know Leah Edmond wants the ball back.
Oh,
you know she does.
Set points now for Kansas. Lilly sets it to Kaz Brown, who hits it wide. Second set to the Jayhawks, 25-20. The Kansas Jayhawks in control of the second set. They lead it now, 2-0 over Kentucky. Welcome back to Lawrence. Lee Fleisick, Jill Dorsey Hall with you as the Kansas Jayhawks have won the opening 2 sets over Kentucky, 25-20 here in the second. It's a pretty powerful performance by Kansas in that second set. You knew that this was going to be a heavyweight battle, and both teams came out swinging, but it's been Kansas coming back in the first set and then really in pretty good control there in the second.
Yeah, control, and they kept that margin that they set in midway earlier on in that second set. But what I liked is the balanced attack. I mean, you're getting production from a lot of players. You had 4 kills from Jada Burse. You had only two kills from Kelsey Payne, 3 kills from Madison Rigdon, 4 kills from Taylor Alexander. So much needs to be said about the play early parts of that second set from Taylor Alexander. I thought she provided a significant spark for the Jayhawks. And then Madison Rigdon leading the way really for the Jayhawks in this entire match. 9 kills, only 1 error, hitting .444, and she does it all over the floor with every shot possible. I mean, uses deep floor. She can almost just place it wherever she wants to go with the ball. A little tap down. Does so much for the Jayhawks from a standpoint of ball control, from a standpoint from an attacking line. That time she's showing a sharp angle, and she has just had a level of firepower. I asked her earlier on before the season started, I go, are you talking about it being your senior? She's like, I don't think we want to talk about it because we don't want to get sad. Or she goes, we all know, so we don't talk about it. We don't say it because it's such a big senior class. But this is their year, right? I mean, you have the Final Four in Kansas City, and they know how important this is going to look on their resume to try to beat and win. And I know it's on their home floor, but if you're to upend a top 13 team, opponent early on in the season, especially they're leading 2-0. If they can sweep Kentucky, that looks really great on your resume.
There's a reason you schedule Kentucky, right?
No doubt.
In the non-conference.
No doubt.
Well, we knew it would be a battle, and Kansas has been up to the challenge. You've been around this program a long, long time, but do you remember a time when Kansas had this much depth? And you have, you go Cheadle, you go Alexander in the middle. You've got Payne, you've got Hill, you've got Jada Burse.
Ashley Smith, too,
exactly.
On the outside,
There's a lot of depth.
And the defensive specialists. I mean, you have so much depth from every aspect, and that was one of the biggest areas they talked about. I know they lost Patricia Montero, which she was another player that could provide some depth. And they have the depth. They've gotten some wonderful transfers into your program, too. I mean, Taylor Alexander transferring in from Ole Miss, Gabby Simpson transferring in from Colorado, Machi Woke transferring in from Arizona State. So adding some wonderful pieces to the puzzle.
Opens. Nice diving stop there from Leah Edmond. Kansas will get another chance. Avili, this time, it's Jada Burse. We haven't talked a lot about Tori Miller, but what a job she has done serving and stepping in kind of a senior leadership role. She has really been good as the sophomore Avery Skinner continues to swing away.
Yeah, the freshman and Skinner, and she just cuts that one back and just did get Zoe Hill's hand as she couldn't press in time to get that ball.
Is it because Madison Lilly and Avery Skinner play at such a high level before they get to college that they're able to step in and not have wide eyes when they get into a big match like this?
Yeah, no question. I mean, they're playing at the international level. I mean, they're playing on getting USA volleyball exposure and highly touted recruiting class. I mean, you're seeing Curry, the libero for Kentucky, is a freshman as well. So you're seeing 3 true freshmen for the Wildcats. I mean, bright future ahead.
12 straight tournament appearances for Kentucky as Allie Nelson makes a diving stop. That's just what All-Americans do.
Yeah, I mean, the contact point on that was extremely high, and so it was going to go deep on the floor. But it's a broken play, and then she just hits over the top of the block.
Allie Nelson serves it up. Lily has to track it down.
Wow.
Nice dive from Avili. Rigdon.
Wow.
Looked like a touch, yes. Point to Kansas.
I mean, that's when you add clip that time mark right there, because that was Such a wonderful play from a defense perspective. Going the other way was Anissa Havili. Pumps it up. The secondary set, good. Shouldn't be noticed because Tori Miller just dishes nectar out to Madison Richter, who goes after that attack. I love it.
Emily Franklin comes right back. We haven't talked much about Emily Franklin, but at 6'4", she's a powerhouse too.
You can't forget about her. She's been a little quiet. 3 kills, only 1 air though, 2 blocks, so definitely a presence.
Really sets it for Payne. Wide.
Yeah, Kentucky will take that one. I mean, they had everything they wanted on that. A good pass. Set up to Payne, just too wide on the attack. It was almost like her body, her shoulders were turned too far. Couldn't get that one back into the floor.
Really sets it for Payne, and this time Payne puts it down.
Well, Tori Miller had a wonderful pass on that play. I mean, that was a tough ball. And right up to Havili, and then Payne gets the better of that one. Calling for a touch. You can see that touch at the plane of the net.
Now Payne serves. Tight to the net. And it's Taylor Alexander.
And keeping Taylor Alexander in, you know and why after that second set, and then redirects right over a bang-bang play.
Alexander again. This time Kaz Brown was there. Really wants Rigdon this time.
I love Leah Edmond. I mean, she's going to a scorer's table. She's flying all over the place. I mean, this is your star player here, just showing all-out effort. And give some credit right now to Kelsey Payne, who's really put some pressure from the service line. A little break in the action as it is hot in here. It is hot in this gym. Maybe slowing down the play just a little bit.
Payne to serve it up again. That one just goes long.
Yeah, that one, the bottom just didn't drop out. It was a floater, and that one just kept floating out.
Meredith Jewell, watch that one, and you just wait for it to fall, don't you?
Yeah, and sometimes they do, and that's such a difficult thing about the floater.
Olivia Daly in the match now to serve for Kentucky. Really tight to the net, point to Kentucky.
And trying to go behind her head, but heads up play from Kaz Brown. When I look at the star players for Kentucky, I think Kaz Brown has been a bit quiet for them this afternoon. I mean, that was a big time block, but they definitely want to get her going offensively if they can.
Rigdon to Havili. Taylor Alexander swings. Payne able to save it. Now back over to Rigdon.
Well, they're making the broken plays, Kansas is right now. I mean, this is a one-arm stab from Kelsey Payne running the other way, and a set up to Madison Rigdon, who is so fearless of out-of-system plays that some players roll shot it, or some players just, get it over the net, but it's like every other set to her.
Rigdon snaps the net, falls back on the Kansas side, 7-all.
We really haven't talked about it for Kentucky, but they're missing their libero due to, and hopefully they're going to see her in about a week or two of play. But man, talk about another added element that they're just going to get from a ball control perspective.
Gabby Curry is a nice replacement, isn't she?
Yeah, she's doing a great job. But think about, they have Curry and their starting libero coming in probably a week. But I mean, she's one of the best liberos in the country. So add that element to Kentucky, and man.
With Addie Berry for Kansas, the Jayhawks by 1. After taking the opening 2 sets over Kentucky. That's an ace.
And Addie Berry, I think when you look at her play over the 4 years, I mean, she's really buckled down from a service line. And I think she has just added this layer of consistency. And that is line to line. That is tough to pass and also to gauge if it's going to be in or out. Now she does a little short, deep combination.
Zoe Hill there for Kansas. That was Burst. Skinner puts it away.
Skinner has had a lot of success with sharp cross, right? I mean, she just goes back to her bread and butter, but it's so powerful and quick that it's difficult to defend. Now we're having a little bit of a setter change up for Kentucky.
Serve works. Jayhawks have trouble handling it, and we're tied at 9. Rigdon takes this one. Avili quickly to Hill.
Well, Hill up and available, and that's just quick. It's high hands, but maybe a breakdown in communication as Leah Edmond thought that Curry was going to run through that ball to pick it up.
Allie Nelson takes that one, and Payne puts it away.
Well, you heard a big good from Coach Richard on the other side. I mean, he just likes the positive touch defensively, which leads to transition and offensive option there to Kelsey Payne on that secondary set. Allie Nelson just serving it up there on a platter.
Avili serves. Allie Nelson with a nice save. And a big swing for Jada Burst.
And this is your senior first-team All-American, Anissa Havili just making a play. Look at this touch. Oh, behind my head, up there. I mean, there's so many plays that she makes that just look easy.
Yeah.
She makes plays look easy, and that's a big compliment, right? I mean, to a player.
What they say about great athletes.
Well, the thing about setting is that it looks easy, right? And setters make it look easy, but man, that's not an easy play. I can tell you that.
Point to Kentucky as Olivia Daly has come in now to set.
Yeah, they're going to a 6-2 option, so they're just needing 3 live attackers. I think they have the weapons, so Kentucky's just toggling back between the 3 live attackers at all times. So where Madison Lilly was running a 5-1 system, now they're using a 2-setter system.
Lilly back in to serve. Hill got a hand on that one. Over to Payne.
Great touch.
Nice effort there from Leah Edmond. Beautiful dig from Madison Lilly. And off the hands, Skinner puts it away for Kentucky.
That's some fight. And Leah Edmond in the beginning of that play, I mean, wow. She just kept that play alive. Positive things will happen. You keep the ball alive, and then Skinner to finish that one off. But it was a highlight dig for Madison Lilly. And that can be deflating, I mean, to a team. It's with little plays like that.
Really up high for Payne. All-American to All-American.
And in system, once again, was Kansas. They had all options available. Looking at your defending Big 12 Player of the Year in Kelsey Payne. Hitting 476 on the afternoon. Not a bad afternoon for her.
Really sends it to Skinner. Soft touch. Rigdon was there for Kansas.
Wow, the secondary setting and the finish from Kelsey Payne. I mean, she is just on a roll right now. It's like throw it up there wherever she wants it, high up in the air. I mean, she's just having so much success. She's moving the ball around, hitting it deep in the floor.
Kansas leads at 14-11. Third set from Lawrence, Kansas here on Spectrum Sports. Kansas leads Kentucky here in the third set, and the Scooter's back. It's good to see him back in the inside flourish, isn't it?
And all year they were sporting, and the head coach of the women's basketball team, Brandon Snyder, so maybe you heard my little Jada Brown shout out earlier, but yeah, and that's, you know, Scott Scooter Ward is such a big part of this university and athletics perspective. I mean, does so much and is just a constant level of support and longtime academic advisor here at the university. And they wore those Root for Scoot shirts last year all season long.
Good to see him back.
Yep.
As Avery Skinner puts it away for Kentucky. Wildcats down 2 now here in the third set. Really quickly to Payne, who whistles one right by Meredith Jewell.
And now Payne now leading the Jayhawks in that kill category. 13 kills on only 1 error, hitting .522. 6 digs as well, as they've been utilizing her in 6 rows.
Sends it to Rigdon.
You know,
Allie Nelson's had a nice afternoon too.
Yeah, she has. I mean, and it's such a tough role to come into as a libero. I mean, you're taking so many first contacts, but throw this one up here. Madison Rigdon, I can guarantee, is going to take a swing at it, and she's going to make a smart play. She's going to make a positive play. I mean, she's done that her entire career here at Kansas, but 13 kills herself, 1 error on 22 attempts, so she's almost matching her teammate, hitting for a little bit higher clip, .545. So you have 2 pin players for the Jayhawks hitting over 500.
The effort from Kansas, keeping that ball alive. Finally put away there by Emily Franklin. But there's some heavy fight on the Kansas side.
And where they had run a 5-1 system, I think Taylor Alexander was a little confused by that play because Madison Lilly is now on the back row. And so she wasn't a live attacker, but she jumped with the setter. Open net there for the Wildcats.
Jayhawks still leading by 3.
Band is yelling. The floor is kind of sticky.
A feeling with a diving save. Rigdon will take a swing at it. Back to Rigdon. Soft touch.
And she can be so frustrating for opponents because she can hit every shot. And it's so deceptive to watch it too, because that was a little roll shot, but you couldn't detect that early going. And so the block's up in the air, they're up there and they're hanging and they can't touch that ball, they can't pick it up.
It's like a pitcher who has a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. You see it, you see it, you see it. Oh, here comes the changeup. Here comes a little curveball. Here comes the cutter.
And who can hit every area of the zone too. You know, it's like she has all the areas of the strike
zone. Work them inside, work them outside. We'll get you on a baseball telecast coming up next.
Okay, perfect.
Payne off the tape.
So here we're seeing a double substitution once again. So setter is in the back row still for Kentucky. That's Olivia Daly, number 20, the junior.
Really outside to Rigdon. Coming at you. Get out of there, JDH. Come on.
I wanted to go play that one. And Jewell a little bit frustrated with herself because that just escaped her. I mean, she's there, she's on the play. Look at her, she's settled in, and it just, I'm telling you, if it just passed your hip just enough, and that ball will ricochet off.
Not coming back, right? Rigdon with a good serve. Has Brown with a big swing.
That's a great play. That's a great play.
Wonderful touch there from Taylor Alexander.
And she saw it, and she was afraid, I think, that she hit it out wide, but big smile from the seniors. That's just knowing where you are. It's court awareness, right?
Taking her back to her SEC days a little bit here, huh?
Yeah,
she's seen Kentucky before. Rigdon with a big serve. Jada Burst has it dug. Tough play. And now Kansas is the first to 20. Kentucky wants a timeout.
And she doesn't want to get in the net. I mean, that's just a tough play for Daly. I mean, that's just, she thought the ball was going to touch the net, didn't get that ricochet out, but Kansas will take it. I mean, and here we are, 2014. I know we're a long ways from over, but an impressive. They just keep getting, almost it seems like they're getting better every set as this match goes on.
Well, we talked about it. It's a beast of a week for the Kansas Jayhawks, and it starts here with Kentucky. But next weekend, Creighton comes to town.
The rematch,
and
right?
Creighton beat Kentucky in 3 straight.
And talk about last year. I mean, I know that 2016's over, but Creighton, came in here up into the Jayhawks in the second round of the NCAA tournament. 2018 in the 5th set. And I know it's a slogan and it's a phrase that Coach B says a lot in practice. He tells his team, 2018, 2018. It just goes to show you get that little extra effort. So they're going to want a little bit of a revenge factor, no doubt. And that's going to be a great one as their head coach at Creighton, Kirsten Berthal-Booth, has their team playing very, very well.
We'll have that one for you Saturday night. Creighton in Kansas, 7:30 here from Horish. Still have a little ways to go in this one as Kansas leads 20-14, trying to close out the Wildcats in straight sets. Another sellout crowd here inside Horish. The entire season's sold out.
So we're glad you're watching us. Right. It's packed in here. People are standing, and it's high-level volleyball, a match that you almost can foresee happening in the 3rd, 4th round of the NCAA tournament.
Really sets it for Payne. Just a little too low. Point Kentucky.
That's one of the first plays that they've had, though, to Payne on a. That ball was up in the air for a while. Barely misses it. Only her 2nd air of the afternoon.
Edmond puts it in play. Burst plays it to Havili. Back to Burst.
And a little give and go again as teams are trying to target Jada Burst when she's a live passer in that row, but she's handling it very well.
That's Addie Berry, who served up an ace her last time out. Another nice serve. It's off the curtain. Another ace for Berry.
And you talk about the battle of serve and pass, and I think that's been an element that the Jayhawks have had a handle on. Early going on that first set, they struggled just a tad, but they have definitely buckled down. 8 service errors now to 4 service aces. So they've only allowed 3 service aces. So that was an area where Coach Bouchard told me, he goes, we need to shore that up just a little bit on the opponent's service aces, and they've only allowed 3.
Really trying to go quickly to Zoe Hill.
Yeah, a little low. And there's always been a surgence from Kentucky late in the set, so now we might be beginning to see the beginning of it.
Rigdon lets that one go long. Kansas 2 points away from the match. Havili serves it up. Rigdon with a nice save. 2 big hits there from Darian Mack.
And this pass here is going to go, or the set, is nice pickup from Rigdon, but just doesn't get enough of it to keep it on the side. And then Mack another whack at it and gets a kill. Now she's going to go back to the service line for the Wildcats as we're going to, where Madison Lilly has came in, they're going to continue to go with Daly.
Oh, that was close.
That was. Just misses it. Does Jada Burst. And
not much argument from Burst, but boy, that was right in front of us.
No touch of the plane of the net, so it was just going to be a. And now we're going to see the substitution happen now. So Madison Lilly's going to come in for Kentucky. So 3 hitters available for the Wildcats.
Into Payne, off the hands.
Oh, beautiful.
Nice stab there from Leah Edmond. Put away from Avery Skinner.
And here's that push, Kentucky. And
you knew it was coming.
And the back row play. I mean, that dig from Leah Edmond. I know she's on the back row, and she's still making things happen for her team. And then Skinner has led the Wildcats in that kill category much of the afternoon. Continuing to tack on another one. 14 kills, hitting 400 herself.
Kansas will go to Payne to bring them to match point.
No question about this one. Up high. Showing why she's one of the premier attackers in the entire country is Kelsey Payne. She can just play at a level up above where many players can play.
All right, Tori Miller holding match points in her hand. Miller saves it to Rigdon. The Jayhawks are impressive. A 3-0 sweep of Kentucky, 25-20 here in the third.
Well, as your first look at your Kansas Jayhawks and their season opener on their home floor, and Mal, they just did so many things right all afternoon. They own the battle of serve and pass, and then a positive touch here up, and is set out to Madison Rigdon, that senior All-American. 16 kills, 1 air, hitting .577 for Madison Rigdon. She established herself early and then never looked back as she just continued to play at such an extremely high level all afternoon. 7 digs, 1 block. She really did it all. Anissa Havili, another All-American for the Jayhawks when they needed her play. She came up big, especially in that first set when it looked like Kentucky was going to surge back, had that big block at the net. Man, what a performance from your Jayhawks.
Kansas wins it 3-0 over Kentucky. The Wildcats, one of the best teams in the country, ranked 13th coming in. Coach Ray Bouchard getting ready to join us, and our friend JDH here called it. Is it hot in here, or is it just me?
I know.
JDH called it a beast of a week, and it really starts out with a very, very good Kentucky team, but your team was so impressive this afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, Rigdon and Payne, 30 kills and 3 errors. I mean, they bailed us out a bunch, and we got just enough from our middles. And I write down the wrong number to start set 2. It should have been Cheadle, and it was Taylor.
Oh my gosh.
So Taylor was just, Taylor's playing great, so we just let her go. But, you know, both teams a little sluggish coming off a big weekend, but that was a good win for us in a lot of different ways.
You talked about Taylor Alexander, who has some experience in the SEC, but she was a big spark for you there in that second set.
Yeah, I mean, 6 kills, and she had a couple blocks, so proud of her. We got good depth in the middle, and anybody can step up and get it done.
Serve and pass, Coach, you said that was going to be who was going to pass a little bit better. I thought you did a great job, especially early on, maybe a little shaky, but talk about that consistent
play. We
play.
settled in about midway through the first set, and then I was proud of Allie because I know she felt like, hey, I got to do a lot for my team to win, but just enough, you know, not a lot of digs, not a lot of blocks, a lot of high-level attackers out there, a lot of high-level attackers. So Jayhawks responded well, and I'm proud of them.
Coach, you've got a big week this week, and it started right here this afternoon, but this weekend will be another big test for you. You wanted to up the competition in the non-conference, and you've really done it.
I've told a lot of people we've never had a week of non-conference with the 3 opponents, plus Belmont. Don't sleep on them, too, because they're bringing the Thunder, St. James Thunder. But it'll be a good week to see where we're at.
Coach, congratulations.
All right, thank you.
Great
well
win, Coach.
All right, thank you.
Right.
Head coach Ray Bouchard, as this team goes to 7-0. Kansas, very impressive. And a sweep of Kentucky, number 13 in the country. And now the Jayhawks will get ready for a big weekend of their own, a couple days to rest up. And then it's Belmont and Purdue on Friday. We'll be back with you Saturday night as the Jayhawks play host to Creighton. A big thanks to our Spectrum Sports crew, led by our producer-director Curtis Lorenz, as Kansas looks very, very impressive in running their record to 7-0. JDH, you get the final word. What you learn about the Jayhawks?
It was some high-level volleyball, and I thought from a ball control perspective and your All-Americans coming to play, it was exceptional all the way around.
All right, we'll see you Saturday night as Kansas takes on Creighton. The Jayhawks win in 3 straight. No program in the country has a better winning percentage over the past 2 years than Kansas. The Jayhawks are off to a 6-0 start for the 3rd straight season. But this afternoon starts a brutal week of non-conference competition. The defending Big 12 champs will be put to the test against 13th ranked Kentucky. It's the Jayhawks and Wildcats coming up next on Spectrum Sports. Hello and welcome to Lawrence, Kansas for a top 13 matchup of 2 volleyball powerhouses. It's the Kansas Jayhawks at 6-0 taking on the Kentucky Wildcats at 5-1. Hello and welcome alongside former KU great Jill Dorsey Hall. I'm Lee Fleizik. Well, this starts just a brutal stretch for Kansas. A tough 6 days. You've got Kentucky. You have Creighton coming up over the weekend. Purdue. Oh, and maybe a eventual conference champion thrown in the mix there too. It's almost like this week needs a theme.
I call it a beast of a week, Leaf. I mean, this is going to be exceptional volleyball. You're talking about a lot of NCAA tournament teams coming in, but look no further. This is a Labor Day special here in Kentucky.
All right, the Wildcats are led by a super sophomore in Leah Edmond. What does she bring to the court tonight?
Well, she was an All-American as a freshman, and even better in her sophomore campaign. The game has just slowed down a little bit, and I am so impressed about her play with the ball control perspective. She's a primary passer. She does so many good things. She's a high riser, though. It's extremely dynamic. She's going to get her kills. She also leads her team in aces.
All right, the Jayhawks coming off a win at the Wolverine Invitational in Utah, and Kelsey Payne was a big part of that.
No doubt. A first-team All-American performer, the Big 12 preseason player of the year. Oh, she won that award last year. She's so exceptional all the way around, from on the front of the center, behind, on the back row. They're going to utilize her everywhere. The Payne train.
This beast of a week starts for Kansas. Kentucky coming off a win over number 18 USC. It ought to be a good one. Coming up next here on Spectrum Sports. Kansas Volleyball is brought to you by Lawrence Memorial Hospital, a proud sponsor of Kansas Women's Athletics, a partner for lifelong health. The Lawrence Memorial Hospital team can help you achieve your life goals. Learn more at lmh.org/partner. All right, the defending Big 12 champions ready to take on Kentucky. 2 teams with Final Four aspirations, certainly, and Ray Bichard wanted to up his non-conference schedule, and man, he has done it here. Craig Skinner is the head coach of the Kentucky Wildcats, and what a job he has done there. The program's all-time winningest coach, 12 straight tournament appearances, one of only 9 schools to do that, 3 Sweet 16 appearances.
Yeah, they win, and they win a lot in Lexington. A lot of respect. between these two coaches. They've known each other for a long time, and what a wonderful job he has done at Kentucky. And you look at the talent amongst their lineup. Madison Lily Hales actually from nearby. She went to Blue Valley West. She's a true freshman. Keep an eye on her. She runs a 5-1 system. Cass Brown, exceptional in the middle blocker for Kentucky.
The Kansas Jayhawks led by Ray Bouchard, the Big 12 Coach of the Year again in his 20th season. He has his Jayhawks playing well at 6-0, off to another fast start.
And they just seem to keep getting better and better every year. He might as well just stay here for another 20 years. And wonderful job he's done with the program, and this is a big one here in Lawrence.
All right, settle in. This ought to be a good one. Kansas and Kentucky. The Wildcats in their black trimmed in blue, and the Wildcats will open with the first point of the match.
And no doubt the most physical team that Kansas has faced all season long. You look at the front row, it's not uncommon to see 6'5", 6'5", 6'2" on the front row for the Wildcats.
And an ace served up by Kentucky. The Wildcats off to a quick 2-0 start. They certainly passed the bus test. As you watch the warm-ups, there's a lot of signs there, and as you mentioned, a lot of physicality.
And what they can do is just a prime example of that. They want to get you out of system because then it's really clear on where you're going to set the ball. That last serve was an ace, and now here, look, they knew exactly where Kelsey Payne was going.
Rigdon with a nice save. Diving save there by Gabby Curry. Payne is there for Kansas. Really back to Rigdon, that's on the line. Kansas is on the board.
And I asked Coach Bouchard, I said, who has been that player for you? He goes, Madison Rigdon. She's got some slow starts, man. She just does everything for us when we need it. That was a back row tag and perfectly placed in that deep corner.
Tori Miller in now to serve for the Jayhawks. Nice save there from Miller. Rigdon with a nice shot. Dug out of there by Edmond. Edmond now with a swing. Point goes to Kentucky.
Yeah, back row attack. So Anise was trying to bring it on the other side of the plane of the net. It was a good call by the up official. Leah Edmond had room, and she had the room to go. That was across the plane of the net. So I like that call. Point goes over to Kentucky.
Emily Franklin now, the senior for the Wildcats, serves it up 3-1. Really outside to Rigdon. Point to Kansas.
And that was a beautiful pass, and what it allowed is that timing, right? So Anise pushes the ball out so far. Cass Brown just a little bit late to close because she had to stay true in the middle. She had to watch out for Kelsey Payne behind her. They had all three hitting options open, so that pass really set up that play.
Allie Nelson puts it in the net, so it'll go back to Kentucky.
You talk about Ellie Nelson coming in for the Big 12 Libero of the Year, we lost due to graduation, right? And Cassie Waite. She's done a wonderful job thus far, but missed serve on her first serving attempt.
Leader Rigdon. Nelson was there. Point to Kentucky.
Just a ball handling error, but broken pass right off the first contact. So Kansas hasn't been in system all that one play early going in this first set.
Really has to run for this one. Rigdon with a nice shot right on the line again.
So it's been Rigdon bailing him out in 2 plays. I mean, this play, she's off on the 10-foot line, and she just utilizes all areas of the floor. Deep corner, you're going to have success. Nobody's there on that defensive side. So wonderful job by Rigdon.
You just see Rigdon start and then stop and then gather herself. But boy, there's no stopping Leah Edmond. She is so strong.
She can hit over the top of anybody. I mean, it doesn't matter who you're going to put out there. She's just that dynamic. And watch how high up she gets here. And the tempo of that ball just allows for that pace to get out there and then to hit over the top of the block.
Now Edmond will serve it up. Rigdon pounds away. Off the antenna, point to Kansas.
Well, Madison Rigdon, she hit with a little bit more oomph on this ball. Look at that. I mean, coming down the line. Wonderful shot. Oh, yeah, and she's one of the 3 All-Americans that Kansas has on their squad. So I know that Anise Havili gets a lot of praise, Kelsey Payne, but, man, Madison Rigdon just does every aspect of the game.
Rigdon with a nice serve gives Kansas an opportunity. Havili up to Cheadle. Dug out by Skinner. Too strong from Leah Edmond.
And much like they utilized Kelsey Payne on the back row for the Jayhawks, that's Leah Edmond coming from that right back position. An area and an aspect of the game that she's shown a lot of improvement and growth from that freshman year to the sophomore season.
Abby Curry for the Wildcats. Too far for Havili, able to save it. Cheadle got a hand on that one. Rigdon from the back row. Nice angle there from Avery Skinner.
And Skinner, one of those true freshmen, a wonderful recruiting class for the Wildcats, and she just brings so much power. Look at that cross body, very sharp cross court attack. Too much to handle.
Overpass. Havili with a nice save. Rigdon swings from the back row. Allie Nelson got a hand on him. Looks like Jada Burse. Cheadle has it blocked off the antenna. Point to Kansas.
The first long rally and the first success goes over to Kansas, so they grind at this point out a little bit. A lot of positive touches at the plane of the net, and then finally it's Cheadle off 1 foot behind the setter. I love how Anise was really just working the Kentucky block side and really antenna to antenna.
Skinner pounds away.
And Skinner had a big smile off that one. She just went up there and hit that one as hard as she could, trying to tool the block, and she had success, exactly what she was wanting to do.
An impressive freshman. And another one here, Madison Lilly. We saw her in her high school career over in Kansas City at Blue Valley West. Outstanding player.
Overzealous there, ready to keep this match going. I mean, it's such an early start for Kentucky. They really have not had one area of their game broken down thus far, doing everything they want to on their side of the floor.
The freshman setter will serve it up again. Lilly sends it long. So now it'll be Havili for Kansas. Down 3 in this opening set. Long. Point to Kansas.
And you got to think, Jada Burse touches so high that you almost think, just hit it high enough and you're going to get one of those hands. But it's just that much too high to go sailing out of bounds, but just narrowly missed Jada Burse.
Havili with a nice save. Curry there for the Wildcats. Oh, bang, bang play. But I think that ended up off Brooke Morgan.
It went off her hand. Watch this ball ricochet off the block, right off her left arm. She tried to say, no, that was out. not enough poker face there from Morgan. But wow, that was so fast. Great job from the line official and the up official to keep an eye on that one.
Brooke Morgan this time has no doubt about it.
And Kentucky's, both of their middles are so good off 1 foot on the slide attack, and that's a quick ball out there. Zoe Hill unable to close that block, and she goes attacks that angle.
Jada Burse has it sent back on her side. Well, Kentucky is physical for net, aren't they?
Yeah, this is a wall. And just ready, up and ready, and they close the block. No seam to work with for Jada Burse. The set was inside just a hair. You want to see that out, pulled out just a bit.
Really has to track that one down. Payne with a big swing. Play by Hill. Hill mishit it. Play continues. And it'll work. Kansas gets the point.
Well, your first contact can be a little unconventional at sorts, but this ball clearly doesn't come out cleanly. But play goes on, and point to Kansas is that they were grinding through that point. And Zoe actually earlier in that play had a wonderful coverage for her teammates, so give her some credit to have that play continue early on.
Tori Miller with a nice serve, but it's Emily Franklin, the senior, who puts it away. Kentucky maintains its lead at 12-9. It was just long. Kansas within 2. Too high for Lily. Kansas takes advantage of the overpass.
Wonderful response from Allie Nelson. The first time she had service, she had a service error, and it was in the middle of the net. So much better job from the sophomore, who I think has done such a good job in that libero position.
Big shoes to fill.
No doubt.
Edmond with a big hit. Too strong for Allie Nelson this time.
Yeah, you got to keep that ball in front of your hip. I mean, if you let that go at all, I mean, Leah Edmond just has so much power. And you're showing it here. See, it just passes that left hip of Allie Nelson. Ball travels out.
Payne. Point goes to Kansas.
And now finally a couple errors on the Wildcat side. We've had 2 net violations, a couple service errors. So.
Wow. Big hit that time from Kaz Brown. Allie Nelson stood tall there, but Kaz Brown just bringing it.
How about it? She was there, just couldn't hold on to it enough, but the ball sails out of bounds. There's so much power, and there's so much pop on the ball from so many high-level attackers in this match.
Miss hit there from Leah Edmond. Point to Kansas. The Jayhawks down just 1 now.
She does lead her team in from the service ace, so it's a high risk, much like we see from Madison Rigdon, where she can just serve in bunches. So we're going to see now Kansas' best server from the service line in Madison Rigdon. Led the Big 12 in service aces last season ago. So back-to-back, but both head coaches know that. I mean, it's a high risk, high reward.
All right, at the break, Kentucky leads at 15-13 in the opening set here from Lawrence between the Wildcats and the Jayhawks on Spectrum Sports. The Kansas Jayhawks trailing Kentucky 15-13. It's been Madison Rigdon for the Kansas Jayhawks.
Yeah, and then she's gotten him out of trouble a couple times off of behind the 10-foot line, back row attack, you name it. She has been successful. 5 kills, no errors on 9 attempts, hitting .556. That's incredible. And then here a little push over the net. Everything the Jayhawks needed, she is doing. They just a little bit slow going early on in this first set, but it has been Madison Rigdon, that 6th rotation player who's been steady Eddie.
All right, it's Gabby Curry to serve for Kentucky now, leading 15-13 here in the opening set. Really sends it back to Cheadle. Kayla Cheadle is off to a good start.
And that pass could not be placed any better for Anissa Havili. That was up on a platter for her to have either option. She's live here as a setter, but she could set behind or out to the outside. And that was Cheadle. I mean, that was the most fluid play we've seen from a middle hitter thus far for the Jayhawks.
ball for Kansas, and no. Wide from Emily Franklin, so Kansas has drawn it even to 15.
And here we go, and the crowd is just getting a little bit louder now. I mean, this has just been back and forth, and now Kansas is really kind of having a surgence right now midway through this first set.
Kansas now with the lead, 16-15.
And this is interesting. They have a true freshman in Skinner on the outside. They're the freshman setter, and then they have the Emily Franklin, the senior middle blocker. But this is an interesting 3 rows right now for the Wildcats. You might see them try to back row attack to Leah Edmond and see where they're going to go. But if they're in system, Madison Lilly might try to bail them out as well.
We talked about this beast of a week for the Kansas Jayhawks, and certainly this is a headline in anybody's schedule when you take on Kentucky. But boy, next weekend is going to really be tough when Belmont, as you mentioned,
they go to the tournament often.
Possible conference champion there. Purdue, always strong in the Big Ten and in the top 25, and Creighton, who knocked off this Kentucky team in straight sets.
And they're ranked 7th in the country. I think they could even rise and maybe go to 6th this week in the polls, in the upcoming polls. So actually, I think they were just released, so they're a top 10 team, right? Purdue is a top 25 team, no doubt. Belmont is one of those teams, those mid-major teams that just always play so fierce and tenacious, especially on the defensive end. They have some local girls coming back to the Kansas City area, so that'll be a fun one. So, wow, what a week ahead. But this is, look no further than this match. When I talked to Coach B earlier today, he's like, well, we're going to know where we're at, right? And he goes, either way, this week is going to, say a lot. Before we go into conference play, I mean, this is a week that we looked at before the season started that said, hey, these are some top teams. All of these teams could be in the NCAA tournament later this season.
And he really wanted to up his non-conference schedule to really test his team, and they'll certainly be put to the test here over the next 6 days. Addie Berry serves it up. Lilly goes outside, and that's Avery Skinner.
And Skinner had a little bit more time to work with on that play, and I love the push out and then also the placement for her in that deep portion of the floor.
Lilly to serve.
A pair of service errors for Madison Lilly. The first time she was on the service line, it was sailed out of bounds, and then this time clips the top of the net. But she is one of those servers that can provide a lot of problems for opponents. Now both setters.
Kansas will return the favor. Maybe just a little bit of coming back home nerves for Lilly.
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I think she's such a competitor. I think she's up to the challenge. She's played at such high-level volleyball. I mean, she's in the USA programs and a lot of international experience. But yeah, you're pretty close to where home is, and probably has to be fun for her.
Kelsey Payne puts it away for Kansas, and now Kansas trying to get their All-American on board.
Yeah, get her going. She said, hey, nice pass, nice set, that constant communication from that senior. And look at how high that is, that touch point up above everyone else. Just goes to show you the level at which Kelsey Payne can rise.
That's for Tori Miller to serve. Kansas will get an opportunity here. Really sets it for Payne, and that's good.
And that maybe looked like a free ball, but that was a difficult ball for Allie Nelson to pick up. So give her some credit. I mean, that ball really dropped. And even said credit, too, to Havili to bring that ball back up high enough, and then where Kelsey Payne can just go up and just put that right in that corner. Another good
nice
ball.
Deep serve. Edmond, did it touch a hand?
Yeah, no touch. We might have
KU.
No, we're going to have a timeout, Coach Skinner. And she went after it, barely missed. Look how high Zoe Hill was flying up there. Just barely missed that hand.
Right next to Payne. That's saying something when you can reach that height, huh?
It is, and I love that aggressiveness, man. Leah Edmond was going after it, but man, Kansas has really just settled into this first set. Little shaky early going, but look, another great look at this. You can't get a better look than that, and I don't see a touch on that. I mean, it would have to be a fingernail, but definitely not clear and convincing evidence to challenge that or overturn that.
What has Kansas done now to flip the tide, if you will, and take the lead here in this first set?
Yeah, it's ball control, right? I mean, they have done a much better job of that first contact. And then also just they're forcing some errors on the Kentucky side, where Kentucky was playing very clean volleyball early going. They've had a couple service errors, they had a couple attacking errors, and then Kansas has just really weathered the storm and gotten to a good rhythm. And I love that play where they had Cheadle on the slide. I think that was on point. Really, truly a very fluid play for them. So we'll see if they can come. This point, I think, is really important, though. I know Kansas has now a 3-point lead, their biggest lead in this set. I think this is really big. And Coach Broussard said their first weekend out, they had a wonderful time with this rotation with Tori Miller serving. This last weekend, not as successful, but this has been a very good rotation for Kansas in the early going.
Tori Miller has served well. Nice dig there. And a great effort from Havili to go into the Kansas bench, but it'll be points to Kentucky.
I think Allie Nelson maybe fell down in that play, and man, that was asking a lot for Anissa Havili to travel that far on the play. Good, positive touch from Tori Miller, just couldn't control it enough.
Now Kentucky down 2. Really up high. Zoe Hill.
And the ball control, I mean, that play from Allie Nelson, it all started with that sophomore libero. I mean, up high for Zoe Hill. And we talk about her, it looks like she is on a trampoline when she jumps. I'm not even joking. It looks like there's a springboard underneath Zoe Hill's feet, and she just flies up into the air. She's such a fun athletic player to watch.
Allie Nelson puts it in play. Off Rigdon, nice effort there from Allie Nelson, but it'll be point to Kentucky. Payne. Start to see the rhythm now coming to the Kansas offense.
And I love watching Payne because whenever it seems like every single match when it gets late into a set, she just jumps a little bit higher and she gets a little bit harder. And that's at another level than what other players can play at. I mean, she has that sheer athleticism.
Allie Nelson with a nice dig. Rigdon off the hands, point to Kansas. The Jayhawks 2 points away from this opening set.
Well, she remains airless, Madison Rigdon. How about this pickup from Allie Nelson? Quick out to Madison Rigdon, and she saw just enough angle, high hands, 6 kills, no errors.
Payne puts it in the net. Kentucky down 23-20. Leah Edmond will serve.
And Leah Edmond is traditionally a jump server with a top spin. If she goes with a jump float, she can go back and forth, right? That time she chose to go with a jump float, but in the net. So that has been a problem for Kentucky in this set, or the service line, are those service errors. They have 5 of them to 1 service ace.
Set points now for Kansas. Rigdon serves. That's soft to Avery Skinner, who saves one of those set points.
Woo! That was freshman to freshman, Wildcat fans. I mean, that was just bouncing a ball. Sharp, cross court.
Really has to play it over the right hand. Skinner now. Havili back over to Burse. Wildcats able to save it. Chance for Kansas. Havili wants Burse again. Lilly sends it out to Skinner. And the freshman connection works again for Kentucky, the second set point save.
Well, she had success on that, but how about the defensive prowess from the Wildcats on that play? I mean, there was a couple hard hits that they controlled. And that cross court, very sharp angle, has been successful. Now we're going to see Kelsey Payne go out, the crowd on their feet, as they've seen Kentucky just fight. They don't want to let this first set go. The primary passing right now for Kansas, they need to be in.